I just want to say I'm gonna go through some paintings, and it will be more interesting if anyone will have questions. You just please stop me to ask. Please don't hesitate, and the priority always go to the students. And that's will when you stop me, that will give me a little bit break, so I can think about what I'm gonna talk about the next painting. So you will do me a favor if you ask. Actually, this is a small painting. Oh. This is a small painting. I did it in second year of my grad, which is in 2007. Look like for me it's very important because before that I used to work on paper, large paper, like a drawing on paper or work on paper, and I used to make a painting, which is it's a big difference than the painting and the drawing. So this is kind of, I feel it's a breakthrough to bring these two elements together. This is a piece that I did this just big piece on paper, and it's right now in Saatchi collection. This painting, I have done it after I finished school. I spent a year in Berlin. I'm hesitating to talk a little bit because I haven't seen the images, which I thought I'm going to bring CD to see what I'm going to talk about. But yeah, this is one of them. Again, just back and forth. The subject matter that I have been dealing with, has a lot to do with the chaos and violence and struggle and corruption. So it's a really big range of issues I try to address in my painting. And also, I came from a different background and study here, so there is a kind of little bit conflict in terms of how to deliver my statement or my thought. This is called Baghdad 2. It's weird, like I really didn't know what I'm going to see again. This is a massive painting. It's a big painting with also with the Saatchi gallery. It doesn't make any sense to see the second, like a Baghdad 2, because I have done Baghdad 1, and I don't really have title for my works usually. But I have done 3 painting, Baghdad 1, Baghdad 2, and Baghdad 3. And the first one, Baghdad 1, when represent the city, the moment when the statue of Saddam fell down, which is technically the city was functioning as a one city, literally, because almost everybody agreed with that decision. And the city was united behind that. And Baghdad 2, after a few years, the city starts like a kind of sectarian war, so literally Baghdad has been divided to Shia and Sunni. And Baghdad 3, I made a big piece, larger, like a work on paper when I was in Berlin in 2009, an imaginary image of the city where I grew up. But again, this is just number 2. This, again, please, if you have any question, ask me, because I'm still warming up. You can tell I'm hesitant to talk about certain things. And it will help really when you ask specific questions, so that will lead to explain the painting. This is Baghdad 2, Baghdad 3, or no. Yeah. So, and when I was in New Haven, I was making very intense colorful paintings, and I felt I need to investigate more black and white, and I tried to create a lot of form by just outlining, and I really thought going to Berlin with heavy history of the city that went through a lot of war, and like half of the city being damaged during the war, and it's a very heavy history behind the city that I really felt to share a lot with where I come from, Baghdad. And I didn't have access to go to Baghdad, so for me it's going to Berlin that allowed me to imagine where I came from. And I really felt the environment in Germany, in Berlin, and even the weather, it's will be another element that so I can't just limit it myself with a certain, like a specific color palette. And I always feel like a black and white or charcoal has a lot to do with something like a dream or a memory, because we always associate memory or dreams like in black and white. So this is one of the other choice that to go through, like just charcoal and a very thin layer of acrylic. Again, it's when I was in school, as I said, I mentioned early, it's I used to struggle a lot with how to bring the color to my palette, to the canvas, because as I said, I used to work with work on paper, and it's very intensive with charcoal, and canvas, it's very intensive with color, and I used to use oil painting in that time, and it took like almost 2 years to bring these two to bridge the gap between the practice of the charcoal and the final product, the painting. So this is one of one of the latest painting. It's just like I think last year. I have done a show with L&M in LA. I went to see the space, and the space builds look like a cathedral gallery. And I was really interested to go back after 2 years of working on canvas to do something with paper. So but I try also to bring the atmosphere of the painting through the charcoal, I feel more comfortable working on sometimes more on paper, but also with my painting I usually use I don't gesso the canvas, so I treat the surface of the canvas look like a paper. And that allowed me to express myself quicker and faster. Nobody's going to ask me questions.
I'll save you.
Yes.
Could you talk about your visual decision-making process a little bit? Do you keep a sketchbook? Do you go right to the paper or the canvas?
Or most of my work is a little bit large scale, I think, and I don't do really final sketch for the painting that you see for the last stage, but I do because they are large scale, so I have to come up with like specific element to start with, like a certain object or whatever, and I do sketch quickly. I will say that I document the idea, the main idea of the painting. And from there, I just go. I start with something clear, at least, in my mind. And I build up on it. Because they are large scale, as I said, so it will take a little bit longer to finish them. and I change my idea a day or 2 days after I start my painting, which is normal. And in most cases, I will end up burying the first element that I start with to build up on. That will answer the question.
Do you go back and forth between the charcoal and the acrylic, or is it constantly give and take on that?
Yes, that what you just saw is really bad order. I never thought it's going to be that bad. I usually can talk good about my work, but that's horrible things. It's just they put it. But anyway, I'll go back to your. I do because again, I really treat the canvas. This look like a paper, or the paper look like a canvas. That's allowed me just to bring all these elements together. I feel very comfortable. Basically, I start, let's say, with a canvas. I put them directly on the wall. I stable them on the wall. I don't stretch them. So I do have this kind of very strong resistance when I make a mark with a thick charcoal. But most of the time, I just put very thin layers of acrylic before I put just because I'm a little bit afraid of the emptiness of a big canvas. So I break the emptiness of the canvas by having a little bit washy color that I have kind of control over it. If I don't like it, I will paint to the top of it. From there, I will make the charcoal. But the thing is, make my practice a little bit too slow or slower than usual. It's because I try to build up simultaneously between these two elements, the charcoal and the painting. I don't finish, let's say, the composition for 100% with charcoal, then I will push the color. I do believe if I do that, the color will function as a decorative element. So, because from my perspective, I do think I can deliver my idea through line or through color or through both, and I have to keep the balance between both of them.
So, because I know there's students in the audience, I want to make a comment first. It's really very obvious how passionate you are. Your work demonstrates that. And I just want to make a comment for all the students and the others that are in the audience that passion is a thing to cultivate. So it's also really clear to me that you love to paint.
I do.
And that the
She's my teacher, by the way.
and that the object, that the act of painting, and that the object that is the painting is important today. So can you maybe talk a little bit about why the act of painting is important?
Why that?
Why the act of painting is important?
Well, in a personal level, I do think always a good idea to go to basic. It's whatever we try to think we inventing something, we actually not. It's whatever you make, the moment you stretch the canvas, the moment you think about stretching the canvas, people have done that. And the moment you put a line, people have done that hundreds or thousands of times. And for me, it doesn't matter really which media that you're going to use, because again, people have done that. It doesn't matter like a video or performance or. But I do think right now, art for the last 30, 40 years went through a lot of changes and in very high speed. And there's too many facts involved in that. There is no dominating style, just will take over the art scene. There's a lot of art fair. Basically, almost every day there is an art fair around the world. There is a 360-something art fair around the world. So every day. And I felt people, if you as an artist, if you feel this is the material that you can express yourself through, and you feel this is the way that you feel you do it, just do it. Don't really hesitate, because there is a stereotype of making painting is a kind of an old-fashioned. Everything is an old-fashioned. Everybody's going back to an old-fashioned. But you have to be good in order to go back to an old-fashioned, because unconsciously you're putting yourself in a category with the great masters. I'm not giving myself compliment, but this is what I really feel. I don't know if that answers the question, but I just feel it doesn't matter the material that you use. It's as far as your, I know it's really cheesy, but it's really when you believe, or you strongly believe what you're doing, this is what you should do. It's you can use whatever you want to use. I'm still showing a part of group show that like pieces that I show with L&M Gallery in, this year actually, yeah, this year. But I have done this. This is an interesting painting, I think, or the idea. Back to your question, how I start. I did something here and it's gone. I don't know why it's go by itself. But this work on canvas and that one on paper. So I don't think you will feel that much a big difference between both. The subject matter of this painting, I think in the beginning of like 2003 when the American troop went to Iraq, I used went instead of invasion, just to have fun. There's one I still remember, one guy, is like a military or like like a Bush administration, said because we had the American got a lot of resistance from different countries, they don't want to be involved. So a guy in front of all these cameras, he said, well, Iraq is a big piece of cake, enough for everyone. So literally said that. And this is the idea, I like the idea of a country, I have something fancy, I guess. Yes, I'm really bad with these stuff. Barely can check my email. So this is the main idea. You have to start with the painting. I told you if you give me a little bit of time, I will warm up. So right now I can talk better. Yeah. So, but again, I still more always think about the subject matter simultaneously with the way that I have to deliver. And I still do believe there is kind of a thin line between the drawing and painting. And this is what I'm trying to do to bridge the gap between these two worlds, which is, I really do believe they are just one. I really like the space in LA, and they have a very strong, a very long windows. Like as I said, it looks like a cathedral. So I consider the space, and it works nicely with the lights from outside, and they change the color of the wall. So I felt it's very important to see the space because I do believe it's presentation is a very important element for work. This is another one, or this is, yeah.
Ahmed, how would you describe your work, and do you agree with the people who write about your work? Do you agree with how they describe your work?
Well, there's a lot of lazy people, and we do easy stuff. Okay, there's a guy, his name is Ahmed, he's from Iraq. So he's talking about war. So this is what I'm painting about war. It's actually, war is a very weird term. You just kind of just have a single word, but it's very open. I don't really talk, like my painting is not about war, because about the effect of war. I'm not interested to capture a certain moment or a certain, circumstances, because I knew the circumstances will be gone. It's not my job. There's a photographer, there's a media, different media, magazine and photo. And I do think painting should be able to capture something, has a lot to do with the time. The painting is supposed to be still active and alive, even the circumstances will be gone. So back to your question, some people, I do have a lot of influence and references, and they are strong. But I challenge a lot of people when they said, okay, it reminds me of that person or that artist. I mean, an honor to be part of this big name like Goya or Picasso or Gaston. It's a privilege to be part of it, and it's my aim to be part of this history. But most of the journalists, they talk about something just on the surface, because I do understand that someone is going to write 500 words for a newspaper. They're not going to go study the effect of Derrida or Foucault on my works. They're not in business. But I do think I'm going to be around for a while, so I'm training them, so will take a little bit time. So they will be a little bit more serious. I think I need to speed up. I don't know if you're interested about every single subject matter, but this is what prison guard monitoring the prisoner through painting. This is what the idea, I thought, I like the idea of a person watching a TV, or the camera or the monitoring a life of people. He's absolutely in control of their life. This is for me is an act of violence. But again, this is what I really thought I will do, and I live in a big city. I see too many things. My life changed every single day. So we end up with this one. There's a painting by Caravaggio, I don't remember, but this is really, Jesus is supposed to be here. And we end up with that. I will claim clearly and comfortably the composition of this painting, 90% belong to Caravaggio. And this is the way that it's really, I think it's how the art function as a circle. You just go, understand what the people have done, and you try to steal, but in a nice way. Yeah, and the painting I don't remember, but Jesus is here. I think most of you are familiar with it, and there is a person here doing protecting Jesus. And Caravaggio was really fascinated by how he captured the space of painting a person doing something like that, but he captured from there, not look facing. So again, he's a fantastic, way of handling the space. So I took the guy from here, and I showed the chaos that the Caravaggio didn't paint, and we end up with this one. Again, once I was, I do look a lot to the fashion magazine. It's an interesting way to take some nice element without people figuring out I steal it from magazines, because if you take from artists. They will figure out quickly. So I do think most of fashion magazines really free from the rule of what we study in school. Don't do that, do that. They deliver almost everything with more relax. So yeah, I was flipping for the magazine, and I saw a wall in somebody's living room, and I really got fascinated by the idea how to bring the wild, like a wild animal, to domesticate it. And it's again, this is the starting point, and we really sometimes this is the conflict that we have when somebody by some reason get like somebody will take you from where you come from and try to replace you in a different city or a different country, a different culture. And no matter how you try to adapt it, you still struggle with it. So this is the show that I have done last year in October in London. And if you don't ask me, I will just keep going that way. So, okay.
Ahmed, question. I'll be out.
Hello, Mark.
Hey, when did you feel confident, in your head you had an idea for a painting you wanted to make? At what point in your life did you actually feel confident that you could realize the painting you wanted through your painting? You know what I mean? Like, at what point, you got the painting in your head, you know what you want to paint as a young painter, but you can't quite paint that painting. You keep painting it, but it's not the painting you think it's going to be. At what point did you, like 3 years ago, 5 years ago, to suddenly have, your hands were listening?
I'm in the middle of the crisis. So, yeah. Really, it's this thing. I think this is the beauty of the struggle through making art. I know we hear that 100 times, but and I really didn't believe it. But I think when you practice as like a full-time artist, you will have better chance to think you're there. On the other hand, you will, you feel, because of practice on a daily basis, you imagine, you think, again, you're not, but you really think you're under, you're controlling. And the moment you approach the painting, all these issues will come together. But I do think it's for me, I just go to my studio almost every day, as you know, and sometimes I go 7 days a week, and that's when you're looking for a moment that you think you'll be able to. We do think a lot, we visualize, think a lot, but the moment you feel that you're ready, and every time, until now, every time I feel, before I just go to start a new painting, I feel this is the one that I will feel comfortable and confident, this is what I'll be able to deliver what I was thinking. And the moment I finish, it's still there's something missing. I think this is look like you're hunting for something invisible. And I think that will keep the game going. It's just a less, when for example, when you're undergrad, you still thinking about all the rules that you try to avoid in order to deliver what you think is the best way to make the painting that you want to. And naively, after 4 or 5 years after you finish, you think you're free from the rule. But they always come. The voice of the friend who critiques you, the teachers, other people involved in your business, they are there. But I can claim it's less struggle than before, but it doesn't mean that you're getting the answer that you want. I think the moment you feel you're 100% happy with the painting, it's a big problem. You have to start making sculpture again.
Then how do you deal with the pressure that you're under now?
Huh?
First the pressure to make a great painting, you're learning how to make a great painting, and now that you make great paintings,
That's
more
good.
and more pressure to make it even greater.
Oh, well, you're very kind. I think I adopt the idea that, okay, I don't think there is such thing. There is no, like I will say, great painting. Sometimes I really think there is a great decision, a moment. I think a great master, they have more than 2 or 3 moments in their painting. A painter like me, I have half moment. I get really happy when I get 1 moment. Speaking of the moment, this is the moment of that painting. And we talk, you and I, a lot about my work and also about this, but I would like to share. This is the idea behind the main idea behind this painting. It's just, there's more than 100,000 kids around the world getting killed by the miner, or it's like a heading bomb. They just, like a certain conflict in a 2 or 3 area, that after the conflict will be over, they leave this bomb underground. I don't know what they call a miner.
Landmine.
Yeah. So, and the kids will just go, and they're just getting killed. And I try to, like, my aim, I presenting the reflection of their life. I try the scene where they are playing, and I want to get the moment between the line between life and death. And I did the upper part, and I did the second one. The tree used to be just like not upside down, like the roots will be in the bottom. And I really finished them, and I felt it's killed the idea of death, because first of all, it's grounded the painting in a very boring way. So it looked like the upper part had been holding by the tree, and also there is nothing relate to death. So for me, it's seeing the root of the tree. It's a very strong way of death, because we don't see the roots that way. And I think I was happy with the decision that I made with this painting.
In your process, you're developing the idea, and you talk a good deal about drawing is an important issue for you in working out ideas and working out form and structures. Do you also use collage a great deal? I know you said I refer to magazines and because it kind of reminds me of paper collage.
Of course. As a fragmentation work, like a major role in my work. And in terms of fragmentation of the imageries and the fragmentation of the idea of the painting. I start with fragment of idea, and I try to deliver it, and I try to paint it. And I will paint the figure itself, and I literally chop it up, so I keep a fragment of the image. So technically, I build up on another fragmentation. So this is what I think is important, a practice for me, how to bring these to the fragmentation of idea, fragmentation of imageries together. But I do literally use a cutout in order for me to see if the certain image work or not. And instead of, sometimes like, okay, I want to put an eye here or a bottle here. And because of the nature of my work, it will take very long time to erase or change. And sometimes I get a certain moment and I cannot really afford to erase it. So I will draw something on paper, and I will cut it out, and I will put it on the painting. And if it doesn't work, I'll take it out. If it works, I will keep it. This is kind of what I do in terms of collage. No more help? This painting, I was reading a book. That the idea of the book, it's a very interesting idea. The writer is an awful writer. So, but yeah, he just really has something very strong. He's an Iraqi guy. But it's about a soldier, and in one of these Gulf War, his job was to make like a big oven or something. So his job to burn the remaining of certain body, like they found the legs here, an arm there. His job to burn them. And when there's like a big battle, he has a job to work because there is too many things he can burn. And sometimes the front line gets quiet, so he has no job. And I really got fascinated by like a guy work every day for a month, and at the army, after a month, he will just go for a week. They give him like a break, so he will go try to be like a normal, act with the people, and just go back. It's just, I really get really fascinated by the idea how to use this intense subject as a job. So this is the painting about it, not this one.
Quite a few back.
Oh, yeah, so this is the one. This I like certain people on power, the moment, how this is like a military uniform, and I like the idea when powerful people, the uniform give certain people very powerful position, and the moment that you will strip them from the uniform, they look like really funny. I literally was thinking about a specific character in my head. This painting this is the back of the bullet. And this is the painting before this guy, or supposed to be a guy, got hit. So I'm trying to freeze the time and I capture the moment before he's getting hit. And I will get to you. So here he fell, and he started looking to himself in the mirror, and this is where he born. So I like the idea of the circle between life and death.
Yeah, well, I just noticed, a lot of you have, very intense colors and kind of a graphic nature with a lot of these. Do you draw at all from like graffiti art, or does that play into any of the work that you do? Are you aware of that?
No, I don't use graffiti. I even for specific elements, sometimes I try purposely not to go online and see certain image. The moment you will do that, I think you will locate yourself in a specific period of time. So if there's like a machinery part, I like to make it up. But this, I look a little bit, but I don't copy. I like to have it kind of timeless. Okay, so this has nothing to do with, or looks has nothing to do with my subject matter. One day, I think last year they have a fantastic. Gagosian had an amazing Picasso show, and 21st Street, and you just like in my way. There's a 1 minute away from my studio, so every time I just go buy lunch, I stop by see Picasso, and come back, and there's a lot of paintings for like women that he knows. Anyway, in one day, it was like one girl came to me. She was so beautiful, or I thought so. And it just really, the moment she left, I paid this one. So I kept it. But it has a lot to do with Picasso portrait at that time. Okay, this is an old painting. The subject matter about mother and child is the classic subject matter in painting, and the mothers, they always impress their kids, and my idea here is just the guy attached and by this piece of wood, and he tried to break free from her, but he got stuck. So we're getting very close. This is the last show right now in New York. Actually, they took it down a couple of days ago. I I did actually capture the a mysterious, powerful image attacking very fragile wall. And okay. And there's a lot of surprise come from the box. And I was referring to sometime specific powerful country attack another, not knowing what will happen. So there's a lot of development, a lot of surprise you will get from that. Yes.
In your pieces, compositionally, there's a lot of things going on. But you said before moments that stick out to you, like the mesh in between the different moments, like the forms. Is that something that comes to you like organically, like you discover it as you're painting, or is it something deliberately that you decide? Yeah, or is it?
I think both. As we know, we calculate everything in painting, right? But it's interesting not to show this calculation. So you have to be very careful what you're doing. But in order to achieve what you want, you have to hide it. But this, specifically this painting, it's a different than, this is the last painting I have done. This because I usually mix the charcoal and the painting, they work together. And this is the first time I separate the charcoal from the painting, but they still together in one painting. I will speed up, so I will leave you alone. This about the main idea about how the politician gambling in everyday people's life. If you're not going to stop me, I just keep going. This painting has, I always see in the photo when the suicide car will explode, they will leave a big hole on the ground. And most of the time, water will come from that hole. And I do like the idea how the element of death to bring life. There's another one. There's
Too fast.
I said, if you don't ask, I'll just keep going. Again, this painting, I grew up in a family house. We used to have like a lot of hiring generals in the neighborhood. And I I used to see them when I was a kid. I used to see them coming to their houses with 4 or 5 bodyguards and beautiful uniform, and they are really scary and beautiful at the same time. And later, like 10, 15 years, they get retired, and I see them like watering the backyard or just going to the bakery without uniform. And I really feel is how the uniform, how give these personality very powerful images. The moment they get retired, it's just they really look, even they are wearing clothes, they look like naked to me.
That's like educators.
Yes. Very close. Okay. Okay. I'm done.
How many paintings and drawings do you have going in your studio simultaneously?
4 or 5.
I'm sorry?
4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yeah. Some of them they are large, so they dominate one wall. So I have to work with small pieces when I got stuck with one big one.
Do you find one feeding and nourishing ideas for
Absolutely.
another one?
Absolutely. Like, you go, how to turn this off? You go, you approach a certain painting, and you feel like you got lost. You just really try, and you get frustrated, and when you feel uncomfortable, you just, okay, you have to give up. But that will take a lot of practice to adopt that attitude. Before, I just like, okay, I'm not leaving my studio until I finish this freaking thing. This, it didn't work. I cannot afford it time-wise. It's not really a wise thing to do. So I just go. This, I mean, painting, they have like 10, 15 problems, and it's really hard to figure them out, but they are kind of the same. And so just go to other painting, try to fix it. If you'll be able to manage to go through one painting with this attitude, you will be able to manage to fix other.
How many exhibitions do you commit yourself to at any given time?
Well, I suppose I have a few galleries, so I'm supposed to show with each one of them every 2 years. And so technically what's like, I would say like 2 shows a year, sometimes 2.5, like a group show here, a painting here. But when you get a little bit known in the market, people start asking for more. So you will manage to borrow, you don't paint everything.
Not everything is new.
No, you can't. For example, it's just like having a museum show, there is no way, like for 20 painting, you cannot make 20 painting for the museum.
Few more questions. How much do you build up your paintings bit by bit? How much destruction is involved? How much do you wipe out and start over again? Is there a lot of change that takes place?
Yes, I do document. So I think after I die, that people will see the different stages of that painting. I hope so. Not I hope I want to die, but it just, yeah. So, but change. It's really fun. It's important to. I was talking to one student this morning about how the change they can apply as a part of the process. I don't sometimes purposely I erase or paint over, but not to block it. So you will see the trace of the change. That's, I think, add another flavor to the painting. Mark, no more questions.
Lots of folks peg, Western artists' impacts on you. I know there's some that you like or are interested in. But are there any Near Eastern or Mesopotamian or Syrian,
No, I came here. I mean, that's really interesting question, but the eye, as you see it probably, or you notice in my painting, it's always there. And from, like, back to your question, I won't say, like, visually they are influenced in very heavy way, but Sumerian artists believe that you can see the soul of the person through the eye. So that's why you see the sculpture, even for Babylonian era, like after that, 1,000 years after that, the 2/3 of the face dominated by the eyes, and that means like for the royalty or for the king, because they're supposed to be more wise. So I do kind of play with this, but as you know, I got my schooling here, so most of the artists really influenced me. They are American, European, or even though, by the way, I just go sometime. I just remember. I have to be fair. I do use the calligraphy in couple painting in my which is very clear influence. But the calligraphy is a part of the culture. It's not individual. Yes.
I was wondering if you could say something about, I think you said many of your paintings are untitled. If you could just say something about that.
Okay. I have a crazy idea about untitled.
Okay.
Not crazy, but I do think untitled allow the viewer to come up with their own thing. I do really think given a title means that you force the viewer to read it the way that the artist wants. And I don't think this is a kind of an act of kitsch. Okay, everything is ready for you, even the title. Just see it, get the title, be happy, leave. I don't do that. I did a few times because it makes sense, and I purposely want people to read it the way that I want, in terms of Baghdad 1, Baghdad 2, Baghdad 2. I did couple when I was in school because I love poetry, and sometimes I love title or like phrase, and I use them. But after 4 or 5 years, I really think it's better not to have it the title. This is what I do.
If your titles don't document the work, if it's not the cataloging aspect, what is? Photography, that you are photographing your work, you are making drawings of a finished piece for your documentation? How do you keep track of the work?
Oh, the gallery's
How
taking.
do you refer to them?
The gallery's taking 50%, so they have to do their job. They document, they just everything. They know where the piece is supposed to go, and of course.
So you don't number them?
Huh?
You don't number them?
No. They said, oh, the general painting, the yellow with a monkey, the something. I make 14, 15, 16 painting a year, a little bit more sometime. 14 of them will go to the market, so we know there's a certain number.
I think it's time for Ahmed to get to George's students, so